Hi, I'm Tim, and welcome to WatchYouWant.com. Thanks for logging on. Right now we have a really special Jaeger-LeCoultre. This is a model called the Reverso Squadra World Chronograph, and it's an exceptional one because not only is this the largest Reverso ever made, so as far as modern sports watches go, this is right up there with the best, the boldest, the most audacious, but it's also one of the most complex watches you can buy at this price or any price. Now let me get into what makes this watch so special. Now JLC is one of the top movement houses in the business. For years and years, others would buy their movements and do business by putting their own case labels, their own dial labels over the JLC movements. They had a reputation as something like the Porsche of the watch industry, the engineering house everyone sort of looked up to and even went to for under-the-table work. But when JLC started to rebuild its brand in the 1990s and then the early 2000s, they said, you know what? The Reverso is our iconic model. We want to reestablish it, but for a modern audience. And that ultimately led to this Squadra. Now at 53 millimeters from lug to lug, this thing's huge. Although it's made of titanium, so it wears small and it has a light feel on the wrist, the size and the visual impression it gives is like nothing else. This makes an Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore look almost like a pygmy by comparison. And of course that's before we even get into its best parlor trick. Now this is a double-sided complication. In the middle, think of it as a complication sandwich. You've got a JLC automatic winding system and their own world time chronograph. You've heard a lot about in-house movements over the last couple of years as more manufacturers struggle to gain command of watchmaking in the engineering and fabrication dimensions, so they're not responsible for outside contractors. They don't have to sully their name, worry about the bad publicity from just buying their parts. Well, JLC's never bought its parts, which is why it can build things like a world timer on one side with an auto winder in the middle and a chronograph with a big date on the front. Now this watch is about as rugged as you'll find any Reverso has ever been. First of all, an automatic Reverso is very uncommon. There have only been 3 or 4 models, and that's in almost 80 years of history. There have only been 3 or 4 models of automatic Reverso. So what you've got here is a really special, almost one of a kind, because when you combine the fact that there are only 1,500 of these in the world, the Reverso Squadra World Chronograph, and then you consider just how unusual the Squadra model line is in general. Most of the Reversos are the classical dress watch, not sports watches. Then you think of how many Reversos are automatic, you really begin to realize that when you own this, you're unlikely to ever see another one. And trust me, everyone is going to see you, because this case is a monster. This bracelet is gorgeous. This is JLC's stainless steel rubber-coated linked bracelet. Every single link can be removed for minuscule sizing, very precise, very comfortable, wears smooth on the wrist. It's really quite supple to the touch, doesn't grab hair, and with this double deployant, each side a double trigger release, it's very secure on the wrist. This kind of splits the difference between the best of a high-performance sports strap and the security. Not just the comfort you'd expect of a strap and the great black with light metal aesthetic, but it gives you the security that you would expect of a bracelet. And between the leather, the rubber strap, and the metal bracelet, the polished stainless that you can get with this model, this really is the win. It's the best of both worlds. It's by far the most desirable combination. Now, in addition to this chronograph with the big date, with the little constant operation indicator at 6, so you know the watch is running even when the chronograph isn't, let me explain a little bit about how this world's time complication works. Now you have all 24 time zones here, and there is a AM, PM, you can see these little semicircles, black and white. That'll tell you whether it's AM or PM in the other time zones. And of course, if you look underneath, you can see that this is finished. Even though this is a modern Reverso, it's finished to the same standards as the classical watches. You can see this machine-turned perlage pattern overlapping, very tight, very even. This was finished with all the classical workmanship you'd expect of JLC and the Reverso line, but with the contemporary sporting big butch look that you'd expect from a sports watch produced in the last few years. Very complicated, very rare, and I can tell you flat out, no one else makes anything like this in the watch industry. So this Jaeger-LeCoultre Reverso Squadra World Chronograph is available from watchyouwant.com with the original boxed set, the Factory Service Network booklet, and the technical manual so you can keep up on how to operate all these features. Trust me, with a reversing case, multiple complications, and the kind of rarity that you'd expect in a hardcore limited edition, your friends are going to be asking a lot of questions about this. This is a watch for a person who's not afraid of attention, not afraid to be the center of attention, the life of the party, fields a lot of questions about their watch, because with this watch you will get them. You also get a lot of compliments. So if this sounds good to you, if you're interested in getting a sporting watch, a complex watch, an exclusive watch, contact watchyouwant.com for the Reverso Squadra World Chronograph.